Hello folks! In the past few days, I was able to spend a good amount of time with Wuthering Waves, and I want to talk about how I feel about the game. There are a lot of fun mechanics and features that surprise me, and I am excited to play and explore more of the world. Since what I played was a closed beta, there are obviously some flaws, and I hope most of them get addressed before the game's full global release. Let me start with my favorite thing about the game, the combat. You build a team with only 3 characters. What separates each character apart are their abilities, the weapon type, and their element. The element is pretty important, but not as important as you may think. There are some enemies with specific resistances or even immunity to certain elements, and when you swap from one character to another, you get a concerto effect that depends on the 2 elements that you are swapping to and from. For example, when you mix Spectra with another element, you get a time slowing effect for a short while. When you mix Arrow and Fusion, your normal and heavy attacks are a lot stronger for a little bit. If you swap to the same element, then you do AoE damage of the same type. This bonus does give a slight edge in combat, but the damage is not that crazy. This means you don't actually need to worry too much about your team's element, except for the enemies that's immune, and just pick the 3 characters that you enjoy playing the most, or maybe 2 DPS and a healer. The most impressive part of the combat is how smooth battles feel. Some games, like Dark Souls, feels heavy on purpose, where a great sword swing can lock your animation and lead to death. In Wuthering Waves, almost every attack can be dash cancelled, letting you quickly move around and avoid incoming attacks. And when you dodge an attack at the right moment, you get a nice slowdown effect, and you can counter back with your own evasive attack. When fighting bosses or elite enemies, they sometimes have this circle appear around them. This means you have a chance to parry the next attack, knocking them back and greatly reducing their stagger bar. Parries have a very satisfying clang to them, and looks pretty cool too. Look how cool it is to knock Skull Rider off his bike from a well-timed parry. There are some things all characters share in combat, and a couple things that makes each one unique. What they all have in common is a normal and heavy attack, a short cooldown skill, a pet to summon, which is called an echo, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, and an ultimate ability. Above the health bar is their unique skill. Once it fills up, one of their attacks gets modified. Let's take a look at the main character. All their attacks are described on the skill page. Her normal skill is a quick slash. Usually, it does one single slash attack. When the special gauge is filled, her skill adds a revolving attack, and you can follow up with a second strike. Here's how it looks, and it does a nice chunk of extra damage.
So,
Yang Yang's unique skill is quite different. Once filled, her hair glows blue, and she has access to a big AoE launcher into a Virgil Judgment cut. It is smoking sick stylish. Last part of combat I want to talk about are the echoes, or summons. You can summon most echoes mid-attack without cancelling any animation. Some echoes do transform you, and that does cancel your previous attack. There are a lot of echoes. They each have different attacks or buffs when you summon them, and pretty much every non-human enemy can be an echo. Even bosses like Mr. Crownless over here. They have a chance to drop when you defeat these enemies, and don't worry about missing the echo drop. They look like orange silhouette of themselves, so it's pretty hard to miss. Another great part of this game is the movement. There is stamina, but it doesn't limit your exploration that much, and you can just keep dashing every little beat and maintain the same stamina. The grappling hook also has some nice momentum. And we all know how long it takes to climb walls. Well, why climb when you can just ninja run up the wall? There's a lot of mobility when exploring, and the world is fairly dense. There's a chest, puzzle, or collectible around every corner, and being able to quickly navigate around is very important. Now for some bad stuff, or work in progress things. The game is still in beta, so not everything is done. One of the unfinished things is the voice acting. There are voices in combat or when you open chests, but there's no voices in any cutscenes, but I'm sure they will add those later. Speaking of sound, I don't have any songs or tunes in my head that I remember standing out. The music isn't really poor, but there's no melodies that stick in my head, at least for now anyway. And the translation still needs some work. New lines are placed in weird spots, like right here with 15 seconds. The 1 and the 5 is separated by a line break, even though it shouldn't be. And the word second is also misspelled with SED instead of SND in pretty much every case. There are also some text boxes that's just untranslated or placeholders in Chinese. I even found a weird string in Korean. And another nitpick from me is the font or text. It is white without any borders, and during some cutscenes, it is very hard to read when the bottom background is also white or very bright. Most of these should be fixed before its official release, as they polish the game, and it's nothing too major, but it is noticeable. Since this is a free-to-play gacha game, I might as well cover some of the normal gacha systems that you will find in Wuthering Waves. First off, the account stamina. In this game, it's called Wave Fragment, and you need this to farm the materials needed to ascend your characters and weapons. You get 1 wave fragment every 5 minutes, and since the cap is 240, it will take 20 hours to fully fill. You can spend some vouchers to refill, but it's not worth it for free to play. You want to save those vouchers for pulling characters. There's also daily and weekly tasks you can do, which helps you level the battle pass. Some daily tasks includes logging in, doing 4 commissions, and spending coins and wave fragments. Very normal stuff. And the battle pass has a free and paid track. I'm not sure how much the paid version is going to cost. It is probably going to be somewhere between $10 and $20 USD. And here's another important component to any gacha game, the characters. So far, there are 14 characters, including MC. A decent starting roster, but nobody catches my eye just yet. I think female MC is my favorite character so far, but I didn't have that many to try out. The characters come in 4 and 5 star rarities, and besides the 3 you automatically get in the story, everyone else comes from pulling the banner. You get a guaranteed 4-star character or weapon every 10 pulls, and pity from the 5-star character at 90 pulls. Very standard gacha stuff, nothing special stands out here either. Overall, Wuthering Waves has some nice improvements to other similar games. Movement and combat is faster. There is a little depth in the team building, but the individual characters matter more than anything else. And with a very limited number of characters I was able to try myself, I have not found a character I really like just yet. I also finished the main questline that was available, and the only thing left seems to be a dungeon challenge with different enemy configurations at a higher level. So currently all that's left for me to do is farm materials and get stronger to beat this final dungeon challenge. Maybe more story will unlock after this, but I'm not sure. If what you see here interests you, then give the game a try when it comes out. It is free to play after all, and I will be posting more videos going in depth on the exploration or some of the game's unique systems. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, have fun out there.